Today we're going to talk about something that feels, well, almost endangered in our world, stillness. And we're going to explore why your mind doesn't just want it, it actually truly needs it.
I mean, really think about it. The second there's a quiet moment, it just feels weird, right? Like when you're waiting in line or just sitting by yourself. What's that first impulse? For so many of us, that quiet feels almost unsettling.
Yep, we immediately try to fill that space. The instant nothing is happening, we reach for our phones, we put on some music, a podcast, really anything to fill that void. You could say we've all become experts at avoiding silence.
But what if that feeling, that discomfort, isn't just some modern habit? Well, psychology tells us that this impulse actually points to something much, much deeper. It reveals a powerful need for mental restoration, a need that most of us are constantly trying to escape.
We're taught this myth our whole lives, aren't we? That if you're not busy, you're not being productive. That doing nothing is just lazy. But the psychological reality is the total opposite. What we think is inactivity is actually a crucial, vital process of mental restoration.
So what's really going on when we're still? Well, there's a term for it, psychological restoration. And it's not about your mind being empty. It's an active process. It's where intentional silence gives your brain the space it needs to recover, to regulate, and to finally reconnect.
All right, so let's get into it. Here are the 7 key ways that embracing stillness actually helps to restore your mind.
First up, a nervous system reset. All the constant notifications and demands keep you in this low-level alert mode, like you're always braced for something. But silence signals safety to your brain. It lets your entire system know it can shift out of stress and into restoration mode. You can finally exhale.
Second, it helps with emotional regulation. You know, a lot of us stay busy specifically to avoid feeling certain things. Stillness creates this gentle, quiet space where those emotions we've been putting off can finally surface, so we can process them instead of just constantly pushing them away.
Number 3 is all about restoring your cognitive bandwidth. Your brain can only juggle so much at once. All the constant noise and information, it maxes out your cognitive load. Stillness is like closing all the extra tabs in your mind. It reduces that mental clutter, and suddenly you can think clearly again.
Fourth, and this is so important, it strengthens your internal validation. When you unplug from the constant stream of what everyone else thinks and does, you can finally hear your own inner voice again. You start to trust your own judgment instead of always looking for outside approval.
And that leads right into number 5, increasing your self-awareness. It's in the quiet that you finally start to notice things. You see those recurring worries that pop up, you hear that inner critic, you observe your own thoughts and reactions, and maybe you remember some hopes that you've been ignoring.
Number 6 is a huge one in our world today. It helps with social comparison. Silence is your escape from that endless feed of other people's lives. It just interrupts that whole cycle of comparison, which does wonders for reducing anxiety and helping your own sense of self feel stable again.
And finally, number 7, it allows you to reconnect with your own mind. Quiet moments activate something in your brain called the default mode network. This is exactly why your best ideas seem to pop up out of nowhere, in the shower, on a walk. It's your brain finally getting the quiet it needs to connect the dots. So, after hearing all that, you might still be thinking, but just doing nothing feels so hard. And you're right, it can feel incredibly difficult, maybe even a little anxiety-inducing at first.
And here's what's so important to remember. If being still feels uncomfortable, that doesn't mean you're doing something wrong. It just means your mind has adapted to constant stimulation. Choosing silence isn't lazy. It is a deeply productive and healing act of restoration.
Let's leave it with this thought. Sometimes the quiet you avoid is the very place where your mind finally feels safe enough to let go, to process, and to truly rest.
If you want to understand the psychology behind human behavior, hit subscribe. Because the more you understand the mind, the more you understand yourself.